So, I'm one person who hardly sleeps. I sleep very light, and I'll be able to tell you what keeps me awake. I work in Nairobi and in the urban slums of Nairobi. And in these communities, that's where about 60% of the population of Nairobi lives. And women and girls in these communities have very scant information about health generally, and especially family planning. So these are the women that I interact with every week and every day, and I keep thinking about them even in my sleep. And many of them are illiterate women, so I really have to think how I can bring across the messages of health to them. In one of these meetings, I met Kadra. Kadra is a 26-year-old lady, but when you look at Kadra, you would think she's 40 because she's worn out. Her health is very poor. And when she sneaked into one of these young mothers' clubs, she came slowly and got in with her little baby, who is actually 4 years old, but when you look at the boy, you could actually think he's 2 years due to malnutrition. So when Kadra came in, it hit me that many women hear about health issues, family planning on radio and television, but they need to interact with other women in order to really have a first-hand information about how family planning works. And for this reason, we have young mothers clubs that have been set up by Japaigo, where we meet weekly with these women to talk about issues of health, issues of childcare, issues of family planning, issues of marital relationships. And we talk to them every week, and this message slowly comes down. But I found that there is a way that I can communicate with them, and these are my tools. I use sticks with these women. And in these meetings, we divide the women into like 4 groups. And some groups have 7 children, others 5, 3, and 2. And for those women who have many children, soon they run out of the sticks because they're not able to provide the food, the clothing, education for their children. And they soon realize that, with many children, I cannot provide everything. So we ask, what are some of the coping mechanisms? If you're not able to provide for their education, what do you do? And these are real choices for these women. And many of them will say, we give the younger children food, and the older children go without food. Or we take the boys to school, and the girls remain home because we cannot take all the children to school. And for those who have run out, they say, well, in my family, we were 10 children. And I decided to go into prostitution to be able to support our home. So finally, they realize that there is a relationship between family planning, between having many children, and whether you can be able to provide for these children using these sticks. So I asked again, so what have we learned in the few weeks that we've been together? Then Kadra slowly puts up her hand, and she says she wants to contribute. Say, okay, Kadra, tell us. Then Kadra says, I have had 11 children in my life. I got married when I was 13 years old, and over time, I gave birth to many children. And I continued giving birth because they were dying. 7 of them, 7, I have put in the ground. I have buried 7 of my children. I only have 4 children remaining. And it's because I didn't know about family planning. Nobody told me about it. But over the weeks, I have learned about family planning, and actually I have an implant. It's here. I have an implant. And it can protect me for 5 years. And I'm also telling other women about family planning now. So I realized that actually this program is making an impact on the women that we talk to, on the women. They're able now to relate family planning, child survival, and provision to their families and children. So that's the work that I do, and it keeps me awake every night. Thank you.